halftime report. Well, one of the biggest loser on Nifty today is Cipla. It's down to around 6%. The details of the USFDA warning letter for its Pithampur unit has emerged. The stock is the biggest loser and has seen the biggest fall in 9 months. Let's discuss the way forward for the company and the stock. Nimish Mehta, founder partner, Research Delta Advisors, joins us now. Nimish, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, the warning letter talks about some of the repeat observations which were there in the Goa warning letter as well. They've spoken about a third-party advisor as well to come on board to solve these issues. Are these really grave observations? What do you make of them, and what is the way forward here?
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. Clearly, I think these are very serious observations, and not only because they are repeat observations, the warning letter also mentions about data integrity being an issue, and very importantly, it also talks about albuterol sulfate's inadequate dispensing from the container itself, which is actually a very serious observation to my mind. If we remember, I mean, way back in 2020, Perico had to withdraw their own albuterol sulfate, especially because it was not able to dispense adequate medicine from the container. So these are fairly serious observations. The company obviously will have to do whatever the USFDA will ask them to do, to appoint an advisor or whatever, but it will be difficult. I mean, I would say it will be a long time for them. It will take a long time for them to actually come out of it.
So then, for investors who are looking at Cipla right now, the stock has already had a strong run over the last few months or so. They were obviously on account of, hopes of some deal going through, the family, Cipla being put on the block, etc. But now that is off, as we've heard from Umang Vohra as well. But what does one do in, when a potential deal is off for the near term, and then you have these data integrity sort of issues coming in? The stock, while it's higher, it's available at a lower price. Do you exit? Do you, look at this as an entry point? What should investors do?
I mean, I won't be able to directly recommend anything on the stock per se, but suffice to tell you that roughly this facility constitutes about 8% of total sales, roughly about 36% of US sales, right? And because this facility was also manufacturing albuterol sulfate, which is fairly a high value, high margin product for Cipla, I would consider the percentage contribution to profitability higher than 8%. I mean, 8% is the percentage contribution to sales. So to that extent, I think there can be some more downside purely because of this particular event itself. I mean, USFDA GMP is a continuous issue that is being faced by the entire industry. So the investors obviously will have to, discount that as and when we see some spike in stock prices coming up, especially when there are difficult to manufacture products or complex products in the pipeline.
So what are some of the products which were expected to be launched or already in the pipeline? Some bigger ones you expect. You spoke about how profitability of the products from this particular plant is already high. Some of them in the pipeline, which could be delayed now?
Well, I think it's an inhaler facility. So obviously, Advair, Spiriva are going to be the likely products. Also, I think the Goa facility is one which is also seeing some problems, which is also mentioned in this warning letter. So combined, I think inhaler portfolio might come under cloud because of this action, because of the GMP action on this facility.
One company getting USFDA USFDA related issues usually brings the entire pharma sector under a bit of a cloud, and that's what we're seeing in the stock prices of other companies as well. Case in point, something like an Aurobindo Pharma, Lupin, Ipca. Not to say that these have USFDA issues, but just the overall sector coming under a bit of a cloud. Would you use these opportunities to look at some other stocks as well?
Yeah, usually, FDA issues or GMP issues end up being a zero-sum game for the entire industry. So a loss for some company will become profit for some other company. For example, in this particular case, Cipla, if they had to discontinue, let's say, sales of albuterol sulfate, Lupin is going to gain out of it. So, and because as I mentioned, this is something that we have to take in our stride. Investors will have to actually deal with this kind of risks associated with the industry. I mean, this needs, I would assume that, industry in general, the market valuation would be discounting such risks. So I would rather go out and find out who can be the potential beneficiary out of this entire event. That is
Apart
what I
from
would.
Lupin?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Apart from
right now
Lupin?
we can only. I think albuterol is a major product out of this, and albuterol only has two competitors. One is Lupin, and another is Sandoz, which is no, yeah.
Yeah, right. That is a big product for Lupin as well, of course. Nimish, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your take on what's happening with Cipla right now. Big fall there. So definitely some clarity as to what would the way forward be on this particular stock right now. We'll do one thing, we'll slip into a short break. When we come back, we'll focus on the banking space on our special segment, Fin Street, on the other side.